This is your News Source Evening Bulletin for today, Monday, the 3rd day of January in the year 2022. I'm Gordon Mosley, and here's what we're tracking tonight. Opposition members on the Public Accounts Committee this morning accused the government of not giving priority to the establishment of the Public Procurement Commission, with the PAC chairman Jermaine Figuera labeling the non-establishment of the commission as an untenable situation. The Public Procurement Commission, which monitors public procurement to ensure the principles of fairness, equity, value for money and competition are upheld, and to ensure the procedures of public procurement are executed in accordance with the laws of Guyana, has not been in place since October of 2019. And although a subcommittee of the PAC was established 6 months ago to deal with the shortlisting of names, the government side is still to submit its final nominees from the shortlisted names.
Let me make it abundantly clear to this committee that I have made strenuous efforts on numerous occasions to make contact with Madam Teixeira so that we could bring this issue to a finality. Many calls were unanswered, many texts were answered late, and those proposed meetings could not have been met.
In her contribution on the issue, Minister of Governance Gil Teixeira said she thought that the recently concluded internal elections of the PNC might warrant the PAC members to consult with the new PNC leadership on the issue. Mr. Teixeira was upbraided by the PAC chairman, who told her not to let the PNC's internal elections be of her concern. He said the opposition has already done its part, and it is the government that is now pussyfooting on the issue.
The opposition is ready for this to be set up. And I strongly believe the government is pussyfooting around the issue. And it is time we bring this to a finality and stop with the grandstanding and the circumlocuting around what is happening in the affairs of the PNC. That is not the government's business. We are here at the Public Accounts Committee to bring finality to the issue of appointing the commissioners to sit on the Public Procurement Commission. What the opposition decides is the opposition's business.
Both sides have already agreed to a formula that would be used to establish a 5-person commission, and Wednesday has been proposed as the next meeting day for the subcommittee to meet and move the process forward. While Minister Teixeira proposed that the subcommittee continues from where it left off, the opposition members said they are not prepared for any more delays in appointing the Public Procurement Commission. More news coming up in just a moment.
What is fiber? Think exceptional. GTT Fiber is an advanced high-speed internet product that delivers broadband via fiber optic cables with download speeds of up to 150 megabits per second. It means your internet is faster, and GTT Fiber comes with the added coverage of our Plume HomePass Wi-Fi system. Plume extends your Wi-Fi signal to ensure that you have the best experience in every corner of your home with Wi-Fi everywhere. Upgrade to GTT Fiber today and don't get left behind tomorrow.
Will you be there when we come to play? Will you be there to see our stars shine? Will you be there 24/6 and do not miss it, no?
The ICC Under-19 Men's Cricket World Cup is coming to the West Indies. Be there January 14th to February 5th. Get your free ticket at www.u19cwc.com/tickets.
Will you be there?
It's one of your biggest goals, getting your own home, where memories are made, where happiness lives. You may feel that home ownership or renovation is beyond your reach, but we at Republic want you to know that there's always a way. Ask us about our suite of mortgages. Let's help make your housing wishes come true, or advise on how the equity in your existing home can finance other dreams and goals. Call or go online to learn more.
Mom, what are you doing with GPL on your list?
Child, you forgot I have to pay GPL?
You got time with GPL.
I have to keep these lights on. The customers who think in that manner and refuse to honor their obligation to GPL are obviously not playing their part in ensuring quality service delivery. So, I will continue to pay my GPL bill on time, every time.
I recognize the value of your point, Mom. You were right.
We've got exciting news! All 12-ounce yellow cab Buster are now only $100. Buster, live in
Welcome back. Well, over the weekend, President Irfan Ali used the majority of his New Year's address to the nation to once again defend the Natural Resource Fund legislation, which he signed into law, while leader of the People's National Congress Reform, Aubrey Norton, also used his New Year's address to decry the provisions of the act, which have been widely criticized. In his defense of the act, President Ali maintained that the previous bill, which was passed by the former APNU-AFC government, was a recipe for corruption. He said the bill passed and enacted by his government was a far better one.
We have created a governance and operational structure that is transparent and accountable, and in which non-political, highly reputable persons carry out the responsibilities of supervision and compliance. In essence, the powers of oversight and control are with you, the people. The opposition and certain media outlets have tried to mislead their audiences into believing that I will be appointing the board of directors unilaterally and will have control over them.
The president said while he is obligated to sign letters of appointment for the directors to sit on the board, he wants to provide the assurance that the board will include a person selected by the National Assembly after consultation and debate. On the other hand, recently elected PNC leader Aubrey Norton believes the current construct of the act opens the gate for corruption. In his New Year's Day address, Mr. Norton said the government has long been matching its spending against oil funds by doling out millions in cash grants and other cash transfers.
Guyanese watch as the funds in the Natural Resource Fund grew. They were fooled into believing that these funds were not being touched by the government. Now we all know better, as the government, since being installed on August 2nd, 2020, has borrowed almost twice the money in the fund.
Norton also said while the president and his government continue to talk about equal opportunities, the words have not been matched by their actions.
The gap between the poor and disadvantaged and the rich is increasing. Clearly, the government serves the rich and their powerful friends and families at the expense of the working poor of our country. This is a trend that must be reversed.
Mr. Norton said the People's National Congress Reform and the opposition will continue to raise their voices against the act. Health matters to report now. Minister of Health Dr. Frank Anthony today said while it has not been confirmed that the fastest spreading Omicron variant of COVID-19 is in the country, recent COVID-19 numbers indicate that the variant might already be circulating here. The new variant has already been confirmed in a number of other CARICOM countries. Guyana does not have the capacity to test for new variants. Last week, health authorities in Guyana warned that while the COVID situation was improving and the numbers were on the decline, persons should not drop their guard. But after the busy holiday season, the numbers have started to increase.
Well, we're constantly monitoring what we have seen in other countries. Children who are vaccinated would get a milder form of the disease if they do contract the virus. In a lot of cases, they remain asymptomatic. So we'll continue to monitor.
The health minister said the Ministry of Health is anticipating a high number of positive cases in coming days with the current trend. And while only just over 90 cases were reported over the past 24 hours, he noted that that could be attributed to the low number of testing that was done.
If there are children who get a more severe form of disease, well, then they'll have to be hospitalized, and we will work with them accordingly.
Dr. Anthony is encouraging persons who are fully vaccinated to get a booster dose to be better protected against the variant, while urging persons who are still to be vaccinated to get the shot, since they are at a higher risk of contracting the virus that can later lead to hospitalization. Let's tell you now that two men who were allegedly part of a group that robbed and murdered martial arts trainer Garfield Newton on Christmas Eve were today marched before the court to face the murder charge. Appearing in court this morning were 24-year-old Judah Vickery, also known as Culture of South Rheinveld, and 25-year-old Darren Bailey, also known as 50 of Parfait Harmony. They were both charged with the murder of 40-year-old Garfield Newton. Vickery and Bailey appeared before the chief magistrate and were not required to enter a plea to the indictable charge, which stated that on the 24th of December 2021 at Campbell Street, Old Boys Town, they shot and killed Garfield Newton during the course of a robbery. The two accused were immediately remanded to jail and will make their next court appearance later this month. The prime suspect in the matter, 18-year-old Kevin Carter, also known as Lil Boy, is still on the run. A wanted bulletin for his arrest remains active. The martial arts instructor, who also worked as a bodyguard, had just left a goldsmith in the Old Boys Town area and was walking back to his car when he was shot and robbed by the group of men. He was relieved of his jewelry and other personal belongings, as well as a firearm that belonged to his workplace. The Guyana police force is still seeking the public's help for information on the whereabouts of the third suspect, Kevin Carter. Anyone with information about him is being asked to contact the nearest police station or call 911. Still in the courts, a 19-year-old man who was named as the triggerman in the murder of Old Boys Town resident Dion Charles on Christmas Eve and his alleged getaway driver were both charged today with the murder. The two accused, 19-year-old Ezekiel Hawker of Queenstown and 31-year-old taxi driver Mikhail Ford of Tuckville, appeared before the chief magistrate Anne McClellan this morning, and they were not required to enter a plea to the charge of murder related to the shooting death of Dion Charles. They have both been remanded to jail and will make their next court appearance on the 24th of January. On the day of the incident, Dion Charles was standing along James Street in Old Boys Town when it is alleged Hawker pulled up alongside him in a taxi, exited the car and opened fire on him. Charles died on the spot, while Hawker escaped in the waiting car. He was, however, arrested in Suriname days after the incident and handed over to the Guyana police. The taxi driver was arrested around the same time. In a statement last week, the police said Hawker admitted to the crime and told investigators that the victim was known to him and had shot him on two previous occasions. The Guyana Fire Service is still to determine the cause of a fire that destroyed several pieces of equipment in a section of the heart clinic at the Georgetown Hospital. The fire occurred early on New Year's Day. In a statement, the fire service said it is working along with the police as part of the investigations to determine the cause of the blaze. More than $25 million worth of equipment was destroyed by the fire, and the fire service said its prompt response prevented the fire from spreading to other parts of the hospital. A number of patients who were located close to where the fire took place had to be relocated.
It's one of your biggest goals, getting your own home, where memories are made, where happiness lives. You may feel that home ownership or renovation is beyond your reach, but we at Republic want you to know that there's always a way. Ask us about our suite of mortgages. Let's help make your housing wishes come true. Or advise on how the equity in your existing home can finance other dreams and goals. Call or go online to learn more.
We've got exciting news! All 12 ounce yellow cab Buster are now only $100. Buster, live in
Come
full
get
color.
your Buster, Buster $100. Come get your Buster, Buster $100.
How fast is fiber? Think fast. GTT Fiber has 3 packages with download speeds of 50, 100, and 150 megabits per second. That's fast enough to stream movies and music, to chat with Gran and Fran, to study, and more. What would you do? Upgrade to GTT Fiber today and don't get left behind tomorrow.
Fuel it up and drive, Super 95. Tune up. Fuel it up and drive, Super 95. Tune up. Protect your fuel system, boy. High mileage and performance, boy.
Guy Oil Super 95 gasoline gives you more reasons to drive and is available at 56 service stations nationwide. For affordable price, high performance, and high mileage, choose Guy Oil's Super 95 gasoline.
Fuel it up and drive.
Across the region tonight, gunmen unsuccessfully attempted to assassinate the Haitian Prime Minister Ariel Henry during an event on Saturday commemorating the Caribbean country's independence, his office said in a statement. Henry's office said today that the bandits and terrorists had tried to shoot the Prime Minister at a church in the northern city where the ceremony marking the 218th anniversary of independence for Haiti was taking place. Video footage broadcast on social media showed Henry and his entourage scrambling toward their vehicles as an armed group began shooting outside the cathedral. Local media said one person was killed and two were injured in the gunfire. The National Police were unable to immediately confirm the casualties. The Prime Minister's office said arrest warrants had been issued for the suspects who fired on Henry's convoy. The attack has renewed concerns about the safety of officials in Haiti, which has been mired in political turmoil since the assassination of the country's President Jovenel Moïse in July of last year. Brazilian President Jair Bolsonaro was hospitalized today with an intestinal blockage but is in a stable condition, the hospital said in a medical note. The president's office said earlier that he had been suffering abdominal pain. The hospital in Sao Paulo said in its note that he was admitted there in the early hours of this morning due to an intestinal obstruction. TV network in Brazil, Globo, showed images of the president walking down the stairs of the presidential plane after landing in Sao Paulo at around 1:30 this morning. He was then taken straight to the hospital. Bolsonaro has been hospitalized several times since he was stabbed during his presidential campaign in 2018. In July of last year, he was taken to a hospital due to an intestinal blockage after suffering from chronic hiccups. Bolsonaro had been vacationing in the southern state of Santa Catarina. And finally tonight, international news. Sudan's Prime Minister Abdallah Hamdok has resigned after another day of mass protests rocked the capital of Khartoum. Thousands marched against a recent deal he had done to share power with the army who staged a coup back in October. Chanting power to the people, protesters called for a return to full civilian rule. But military forces again responded with force, leaving 2 people dead. Mr. Hamdok's decision to quit leaves the army in full control. The BBC reports that it is another blow to Sudan's fragile attempts at a transition to democratic rule after a popular uprising led to the overthrow of Sudan's long-term authoritarian president Omar al-Bashir in 2019. In a televised address, Mr. Hamdok said the country was at a dangerous turning point that threatens its own survival. And that's your News Source Evening Bulletin for tonight. I'm Gordon Mosley reporting and encouraging you to stay safe.